Hi, this is Joe from JRX, another video. This is for the new version 1.4, which will be released after I've uploaded this video. The main difference, the reason why I'm making the video is because I've taken away the wing sweep access, and I want to make it clear to people now that it's much simpler to set up and control your throttles. If we have a look at the binder book, you can see that the old options for the throttle controls have gone. Everything's now done inside of the X-Plane menus. Here we are inside my X-Plane hardware options, and I have a ProFlight trainer which has a single throttle access. For me, I'm now choosing none because I use the VR controllers. I can also use the mouse when I'm in 2D, and I can also use the keyboard. The default F1, 2, 3 and 4 will control the throttles individually. If you want to control both the throttle levers together at the same time, then all you need to do is select the standard throttle axis there, and that will do that. If you're lucky enough to have 2 or more axes available for your throttle, then what you need to do is you need to assign these ones down here: throttle 1 for engine 1 and throttle 2 for engine 2. And under the setting none, I can control with the mouse. I can control with, on my setup, F2, F4, F3 and F1. But more importantly for me, I can control them independently with my VR controller. I will do a little quick flight at the end where we can have a look at some of the other things I've added under version 1.4. We'll just go through now some of the other changes. Someone mentioned that the fin at the rear under the clamshell doors couldn't be colour mapped. That's now not the case, it's fixed. This has been added to the body texture and it should match the main colour of your texture. One of the main reasons of coming away from the wing sweep axis was so that we could implement the engine trimmer. That's now done. Let's have a look at the collective. There's been a few changes here on the collective head. I've remapped the texture so the text is a lot clearer. I've taken away the old load hook switch and I've added the searchlight, and I've also added the additional China hats to control. So the engine RPM trimmer is in the middle, that's working now. The landing light pan and extend is working properly, and the searchlight, you now have the ability to pan left, right, up and down. I think it's 300 meters, so around about 1,000 foot you should get the searchlight on the ground, but we can have a quick look at that at the end. Along with those changes, I've also added the associated commands, so you can add them to your controller or your keyboard or your VR controller buttons. And they're under panel. We've got the searchlight functions, and we have the landing light extend and retract commands. I've also added, on request of a user, which I should have done anyway, was when we start the engines or when the RPM needles split, we get the horn. I've added a command for that as well. I've also added a lit texture to the binder book, so these values here you should be able to see a little better in total darkness. I was struggling. I kept having to turn the light on to see what's going on, but these will now slightly glow in the dark. And one of the final changes for version 1.4 is the fuel switches. Before, these weren't actually doing too much, but what will happen is now is that you will still be able to start the engine and take off with these switches in the off position. Nothing bad will happen until you've burnt 72 kilograms of fuel, and here's why. This indicator here is the main tank. This holds the quantity of the fuel, from memory 360 something kilograms, and this one is the supply tank which feeds fuel directly into the engine. What happens is that this tops up this tank. So now if we don't have the fuel switches in the on position, this tank will drain. It won't be getting topped up, and when this gets to 0, both the engines are stopped. And I think that's it really for the changes for 1.4. If I have forgotten anything, then there is the comprehensive list over on the forum under development notices, which I do update. As soon as I've made a change, it gets updated. So that is a very current list. So keep an eye on what's going on there. And I think what we'll do now is we'll just have a quick flight again in VR. It won't be a great recording, and I can just show you some of the changes in action. Okay, here we are in VR. We'll do a quick flight, show you a couple of things. So I now have individual throttle control. No floaty throttles anymore. Everything is working okay. I did forget to mention the trims. The trims are now working. I'll give you a quick demo of them. Just let the torque sink. There we go. So if we come up into a hover, okay, so the trim roll left, that's on the trim only. That's centered. Trim roll right. There it goes. That's all working okay. And the trim pitch up and trim pitch down. Working all right. So now you can assign anything to the throttles that X-Plane will accept. If we pull this back here, we're now under one engine operation. Torque's gone off the scale. Well, there we go. We're back under control now. And back up. So I brought the lights down now. We can have a look at the panning. Landing lights now on. It's fully retracted and we can extend. That's all working okay. Everything outside animates at the same time. Landing light off. Got the searchlight on now. I've got this assigned to my China hat. And everything is looking good. I haven't included a focus where we can close down the size of the cone, but for now it's okay. And there we go. That's all going to be on the 1.4 update.